what gives me hope and where I think the solution probably starts is very religious people who live among very secular people, and our leaders are voices. So, I'm thinking of Tim Keller, I'm thinking of Jon Tyson, who are both, very compelling voices for Christian belief living in New York City. And what you would never hear from Christian voices living entirely in secular environments is this fear of, they're coming to get us, they're
Right.
coming to get us, because they're friends with highly secular people and they're not coming to get them. So where you hear that fear is isolated religious voices that don't actually have atheist or agnostic friends, that don't have friends, on the far left. So we need to hear less from isolated voices. Now, the problem on the secular side is you don't have secular voices that live in, deep rural religious America. Because why would they live there? There's no jobs there. That's not what you want to be a journalist, you want to be on TV. You're not going to move to Idaho.
Well, and there's no secular mission that says it's a compelling and worthwhile effort
Right.
to live among people who are different than you. There is a Christian mission that says that, which is why a Jon Tyson or a Tim Keller moves to Manhattan.
So I think it rests on us to initiate detente, if there is detente. It rests on believers, and it rests on believers that probably have more exposure to the secular point of view and have more secular friends who can actually reach out, and there are people to reach out to, because I don't think it's going to happen. It's not going to happen from rural America to reach out to the big cities, and it's not going to happen from secularists in the big cities to reach out to rural America. So I think Jon Tyson is our only hope.
I also want to mention David Swanson. He was on our podcast before.
Yes. Yeah.
David Swanson intentionally moved into, inner city Chicago, and he's doing incredible work there. And
Wait a minute. I have to correct something I just said. I just spoke from an entirely white perspective. African American pastors are also in big city. I'm thinking of Charlie Dates. Charlie Dates is right downtown Chicago in a very secular environment as well. So the Black church, I'm going to add that on. I do think the more, over the last couple of months, that the Black church plays a key role in American Christianity going forward, because it hasn't been co-opted by one side or the other. It has an independent voice, and leaders like Charlie Dates or some of the other African American devout evangelical Christians that we've had on are in a unique place. I'm Viola Davis, Devon Franklin, Hollywood producer. These are Christian voices in the secular world with secular friends that have an invitation to speak freely. And you see that more out of the Black church than you do out of white evangelicalism.
I don't want to disparage white evangelical leaders, but I agree. I think the future of evangelicalism, and maybe the future of the church in general in the United States, is going to heavily rely on African American, Latino American, and Asian American leaders. And they have a perspective and a skill set that is needed in our pluralistic moment that a lot of white leaders just frankly don't have. Not for any fault of their own. They just haven't been in environments to experience the diversity and to know how to navigate that in a way that these other leaders have.